Well, hello everybody. We got a couple of minutes. We're starting a little early. I thought I would let the LinkedIn audio folks hear the GI theme song. I jam to it every time. I don't know about y'all, but I went over and had somebody on Fiverr create the LinkedIn my theme song for LinkedIn and for my other different marketing and outreach kind of activities. Hello, Facebook. Hello, Twitter. Hello, LinkedIn, and hello to YouTube. Welcome to Demystifying Government Contracting. If you know somebody who needs to be in here, tell them to get on in here. We got about a minute left, but I just thought I'd let y'all know you were listening to the LinkedIn or to the GI theme song on LinkedIn for the very first time. Um, I don't know if you can hear it, but it goes to the part, they're saying on the chorus, GI. So y'all know I'm obsessed with my brand, but hey, that's what it's all about. I tell people, some people carry designer purses, wear designer shoes, shirts, pants, etc. I am my own brand designer, and if you don't wear it and market who you are, then nobody will. So I'm not ashamed, and I hope you're not. That's all a very important part of being in business. And did you know that being certified is also part of your particular brand and business? As far as marketing to the federal government, they can find you easier through certifications. But before we get started, let me introduce myself. How many of you, this is your first time? I'm looking at some familiar faces and names. I think that you all are some repeat um, viewers, attendees. Can you give me a thumbs up if this is your first time? And on Facebook and Twitter or on LinkedIn Live, you can go in the chat. So we are broadcasting two ways. On LinkedIn Live, you can type in the chat, type your questions. On LinkedIn Audio, you can raise your hand and come to the stage and ask questions. I'm joined on the LinkedIn Live side, and Lori, you can try to come up again, but you'll have to mute on one side, I think, or another if you come up. I couldn't bring you up. Let's see if I can get you up here. It wouldn't let me. I don't know if you haven't updated LinkedIn lately. That might be one of the reasons why. So if you do want to come to the stage, I encourage you that at 7:45, please. I couldn't bring you up, Lori. At 7:45, please put all your questions both in the chat as well as raise your hand and come to the stage if you have questions about being certified. I do want to say, is that Bill Clark Kent? What's up? What's up, Bill? I haven't seen you, Clark. I haven't seen you in a long time. Good to see your face and just see you in the audience. Much love to you, brother. But let me just tell you a little bit about myself. GI, it's a first name, last name, noun, verb, and maybe even an adjective. I have spent all of my adult life serving military members and their families. I spent 27 years in the Air Force, the world's greatest Air Force, in time. My current job, I'm the director of the Women Veteran-Owned Small Business Initiative with the Department of Veteran Affairs. You'll see me put a disclaimer out on the screen, and I'm also going to put it out on LinkedIn Live. Anything that you hear from myself or anybody else is my opinion and my opinion only. It does not represent the views or opinions of the Department of Veteran Affairs. And we encourage you to research, trust, as my colleague Lori says, trust but verify, check everything that we say out, because this is only for you to be educated enough to ask the right questions and understand whether or not you're getting the right information. So thank you. Welcome. We're so glad that you're here. If you're new to LinkedIn audio, let me just explain a little bit of the features at the bottom of the screen. If you see that share button, hit that, and you can invite others to join us right here and listen in. Even if you come in on LinkedIn Live, we're not showing any pictures. You're just seeing and hearing it in the same way. So it's the same experience, except for you can type in comments and watch or listen to the replay on my LinkedIn profile on the LinkedIn Live side. On the LinkedIn audio side, you get the opportunity to raise your hand, come to the stage, and ask questions. That next button, that little smiley face, is a react button. You can say, I love something, thumbs up, I support that, or I think that's hilarious. We do like audience participation because everybody that comes here, I will tell you that, honors me and comes and honors the community with their generosity. Come here at no cost. They're here because they believe in the community and believe in trying to help underserved communities in small business. And then that last button is probably the most important button. It is the mute button. If you come to the stage to speak, it is not the microphone next to your picture, but it is that mute button at the bottom right hand corner that allows you to talk and mute and unmute. And then on the far left side of the screen allows you to raise your hand and come to the stage. Please make sure that you have updated your LinkedIn lately, because if you have not used LinkedIn audio, the system doesn't know that you have that feature. And so you may have to go out and update it if you are not able to unmute when you come to the come to the stage. So let me just kind of lay the groundwork. Hey, Lori, are you able to, are you going to speak on the audio side or on the LinkedIn Live side?
I guess I do here.
Okay, you're over there. Great.
Uh-huh.
Okay, great. Oh, so let me introduce my sister in service, Lori Smith, Air Force veteran, distinguished veteran, senior enlisted leader in the contracting field, has had a tremendous background in the contracting field after retirement and a short stint with in the government in contracting world. As a contractor, she came over to VA where she retired and recently as from being the director of community care network. That meant she had several contracting officers working for her. Her generosity, her love for this underserved community is boundless. Her insider knowledge and perspective as a contracting officer is tremendous, and I'm so thankful she's here with us tonight. Hey, Lori, go ahead and tell folks anything I left out. I left out a few things to give you an opportunity to introduce yourself.
Well, you didn't leave out much, GI. I mean, I did have an illustrious career, both as in service in the greatest Air Force in the world, as well as doing civilian service. One thing, however, that people may be interested in to know, a fun fact about me, I'm also now the career gateway acquisition facilitator at Management Concept, whereas right now we have a cohort that is going on, and I am working with young 1102 are contracting professionals new to government and helping them in their development and growth. So what we say here or what we know that is needed, I'm grateful and humbled to have an opportunity to, so into the hearts and minds of the people that are coming in as a result of my leaving as the great replacers for the replacement. So very excited about that as well. So that's about it. Here to serve and happy to be here.
Awesome. Awesome. Hey, Doc Mai, I see you over there on LinkedIn Live. Good to see you. Javon Spiller, as well as, let me see who else is over there. There's an unnamed person over there. One of the benefits of going into the LinkedIn Live side and typing, or even on the Facebook Live side, is if you share your business information, I will put it on the screen on the LinkedIn Live side. So it's a little bit of, you know, fostering us working together as a community, because when you realize the whole reason this is called equity in government contracting is because Executive Order 13985 that was instituted by the president in January of 2021 was the first of its kind, where there was a federal wide initiative to increase um, contracting with underserved community vendors. Underserved communities are defined as women, minority, veteran, disabled, and LGBTQ plus. Um, the challenge has been given to 99 federal agencies for them to, one, collect data on the demographics of those minority communities, for them to award more contracts to those communities, to award more contracts to new vendors coming into the community, right? And it also, one of the other challenges that it has made is for federal agencies to remove barriers and burdens to doing business with the government. And so this space is about having a conversation about how we can demystify government contracting. And the reason I picked today's topic of, I'm certified now, what is because there's all these, things out there on the internet, training, videos on YouTube that is saying, oh, it's so easy. Come on in. You can do it. I'm not going to say it's hard, but it's not easy either. And if it's too easy, there may be an issue. But certifications ought to be part of your business development strategy. And so I do want to talk about, before we get started, Lori, I kind of want to talk about first the veteran certification. And from your standpoint as a contracting officer, can you talk about how important it is, but how it is also not the only way to get opportunities, not only with the VA, but with other federal agencies, and tell them about VA's unique position when it comes to the veteran certification. I'll turn it over to you.
Okay. You were breaking up a little bit, so I'm gonna say what I think you said, or
Oh,
talk
was
about what
I?
I
I'm
think you
so
asked me to
sorry.
talk about. No, just and it could just be me, but it was like a womp. Every now and then there's a Charlie Brown moment, but I'm good with that. But as it relates to
Hold on,
veteran
hold on,
owned or
hold on.
certificate,
Before you go, hold on. Before you go, let me check how do I sound out there for the folks who are on LinkedIn audio? How do I sound? Give me a thumbs up. Am I going wop wop? I'm okay. Okay. Good, good, good. Okay. How about LinkedIn, on LinkedIn Live? Can you give me a thumbs up or say you sound okay on LinkedIn Live? All right. Go ahead, Lori. Thank you.
no problem. So when we talk about veteran-owned small businesses and service-disabled veteran-owned small businesses, again, the certification, it is important to make sure that you do everything. Because again, when we talk about positioning ourselves to do business with the government, it is making sure you have truly positioned yourself. The idea is not to come to any table looking for a piece of pie because you are it. So if you come full already, you won't have to be, you won't come hungry. And so when you come across, you won't come across otherwise as desperate. So as it relates to certification by law, especially for the Veterans Administration, there's a rule or two. Other agencies adapt that principle as well. But when we talk about the rule of two, what the Veterans Administration is required to do when they're soliciting anything is that they're, as a component of market research, they have to establish that there is not a reasonable expectation that two or more service disabled veteran owned or veteran owned small businesses can provide a response to a requirement, and that price be fair and reasonable. So I think along the lines of certifications is that having a veteran owned certification does not in and of itself mean that the government is compelled to do business with you. Is still predicated upon your being able to meet the needs and the requirements of the VA and or any other government entity. And I think that is what Michelle often tried to reemphasize,
Mm-hmm.
is that it's not a gimme. However, it can become a tool if you utilize your business strategy, if you develop one and you are posturing accordingly. And so the other key component of that is that that part that's a reasonable expectation that the price is going to be fair and reasonable. So when there's no, you can have multiple veterans out there that could be providing a service and or a product to the government. But if the price is the CEO through market research or just known information cannot establish fair and reasonable pricing, we cannot execute an award. So get your certification. Right now, what the veterans are being certified, SBA owns everything as it relates to certification. What I will say for the veteran certification, that is going extremely quickly. It was for me when I was able to resubmit because I got caught with that migration. And so long as you have all of your information, and that is another key thing, there isn't a certification through the SBA or any other entity that does not communicate to you exactly what is required to be submitted in order to obtain certification. So before you start uploading documents, or even before you go out there and pay somebody to help you, go read the video for yourself. Read and understand. Now, if you read it and you don't understand it and you don't have time and you just need some help, that's one thing. But always know what it is that you are doing or what is required of you to do as a business, regardless of whether you outsource it or not, because you always need to know what's going on in your neck of the woods. But the certification is vital. With that certification, you can facilitate, engagement with the government, leading in sometimes with that disrupting the market research process if you have a particular type of certification in order to obtain a requirement. So
Great,
hopefully
great. Good
that
point. Good
answers
point.
that
So
question.
VA, no, that does. VA is the only federal agency that by law must award a portion of its contracts to veterans. I believe with SBA now taking it over, and I don't have any insider information, that once they have gone through the 1 year period, there may be opportunities for other federal agencies to have definite veteran owned set asides, as far as the contracts are concerned. So what we know is that there is the veteran owned certification, there is the woman owned certification, and I've been telling folks who are veterans, if you're not certified uh, um, by SBA yet, get the veteran first, because they are then looking at the same documents for woman owned, and it could possibly make the process go a lot faster. And then when you're going for these multiple certifications, I do want to say, a great idea that one of the vet biz ladies talked about during our vet biz lady office hours this week was, she said she has an Excel spreadsheet, and everything that all the information that was asked for one certification, she has that all in the Excel spreadsheet. So she has, the documents, the information, all of that, her EIN, the UEI. EIN is the social security number for IRS, and UEI is like the your business identification number, unique. I think entity identifier is what UEI stands for. Don't quote me. Check it. Like I said, trust but verify. Um, for you to be identified by the federal government as a business. So almost like DUNS number, used to be UEI, replace that. But having all of that information in one place so that when you begin to go for certifications, not just with the woman-owned, veteran-owned, and I want to leave minority-owned on the side for a minute. We'll come back to that hub zone. But as you do know, a lot of state and local entities also have certifications, and they're going to be asking you for the same information. So please, if you get a chance, keep it all in one place. That way you're not as frustrated when they're asking you for something. You've got a folder with all of the files, with all your operating agreements and your meeting minutes or whatever other kinds of leases, bank accounts, all these documents that you're going, oh my God, they're asking for this. I will tell you, as the former director of the Center for Verification and Evaluation from 2011 to 2014, just give them what they ask for. Whatever question they ask, answer that question. If you don't understand the question they're asking, go to a PTAC, which is now Apex, and ask them, what do they mean by that? One of the things I did when I was the director of the Center for Verification was we started training PTACs on our verification process so that they could help veterans. And now that program has expanded, and there are trained counselors in all 50 states, and I think even Guam. So if you don't understand what's being asked of you on a certification, they can definitely help you. Oh, I see. Who's this? Let's see if we have. Let's see. I don't know if I can get you to the stage. I don't know why it's not allowing me. Oh, I got you up there. Okay, so you're a student. We have somebody on the stage, MD Hassan. You are from Bangladesh. And what is your question? No sales, please. Push your microphone at the bottom of the screen to ask your question, and unmute and ask your question. Tell us who you are, what your question is, and what kind of business you're in. MD? Hello, MD? All right, I'm going to move you back down to listening if you can, if you're not going to ask a question, and you can raise your hand and come back up. You may need to update your LinkedIn. Hey, Lori. Okay. Let's see here. Where was I? So MD, we're going to try one more time. I see you back down there. You raised your hand again. Can you unmute? The microphone is at the bottom right hand. It looks like you're trying to talk, but I can't hear you. Can you hear him, Lori?
No, I cannot.
Okay. Go out and update your LinkedIn app, and then let's try to come on back. Anybody else have any questions? How many of you were aware that there were people to help you with certifications, FREE? How many of you knew that? Give me a thumbs up, a heart, or something. Let me know. And then now, Lori, I kind of want to go into, okay, so that's good. That's good. But do you know, it's very important for you to not just think that I've got these certifications and, work is going to come to you. So now, Lori, let's talk in these last 15, 20 minutes about some strategies people can use for their certifications. So we've got woman-owned, veteran-owned. We've got hub zone, which really is not hub zone, but minority-owned, which really is the one that requires a specific strategy. And we can talk about that now before we go into talking about the strategies of others, because the reason minority owned or 8A is so important is because the timing of it, because there is a limitation to the term or the length of time you can participate in the program. Lori, do you want to jump in there? And then we'll see if you got questions, start raising your hands here in the next 5 minutes. If you've got questions on LinkedIn or Facebook Live, put them in the comments, and we'd be happy to take them. Go ahead, Lori.
Well, with all the social economics certifications and set asides, there's a purpose for them. Again, as I often say, is that, when the government started, uh, doing business, doing contracting, the purpose and intent was, one, to advocate small businesses, because small businesses do keep our economy going. And so if you obtain a certification, again, be mindful of the requirements that is required for you in order to perform a contract. Knowing exactly what the rules of engagements is key. From a strategic perspective, as you hear and as you've seen and witnessed, we have executive orders that have increased, levels of effort and the percentage goals for each government agency. Know what those government percentage goals are, for those particular government agencies. Know which agencies are not meeting their goals or that are not passing on their scorecards. They all get report cards. And now a lot of the legislation compels the contractor to actually, the government to is a part of their performance, to make sure that these goals are being met. So when you are out doing your research, your market research is, one, knowing who needs what it is that you have to sell. We've said repetitively that's easily, you can easily find that information out at usaspending.gov. Running a quick NAICS code inquiry of your NAICS code, you get a general idea as to not only who's buying it, but the volume and the magnitude as to how the government buy. And that helps you streamline, okay, who do I need to go to or start looking at from a potential client or an engagement or outreach perspective. And so when you're knowing the rules of engagements for your social economic set aside, follow pursuit. So if you're not meeting your woman-owned small business goals or your economically disadvantaged woman-owned small business goals, which go either way, and I have one of those unique NAICS codes, there's over 700 identified out there on the SBA website, or you could just Google, give me a list of the NAICS codes that are under representative for women specifically. And those becomes things that you can potentially use as a disruptor to market research. Whereas in you find an agency putting a requirement out and it's under that dollar cap as specified per that spreadsheet, let them know, hey, I see you out here requesting information. You're looking for source of salt, or you talking about a pre-solicitation, a draft RFI. Hey, RFP, I'm a woman-owned small business. Y'all ain't mean y'all scorecard. Hey, this is what I can do, and this is how well I've done it in the past and who I've done it for. Let's talk. So now what you've done is, one, introduce the idea of them, one, achieving a goal, but more importantly, there's no telling how many projects that specialists have on their desk. So it becomes a part of workload management as well. But those are ways, so your strategy has to be, one, knowing who buy what it is, who need what it is that I sell, and making sure I target that. Another strategy, again, is looking at everybody's scorecard. You can find scorecards, I think, on the SBA site, as well as I think potentially out there on sam.gov may have the list of the scorecards. And again, the scorecards are just a reflection of which government agency is or is not meeting their social economic goals or status, and then to what degree that they are not meeting. If they're not meeting the status, hey, go for it. Women with your social economic designation, if you are a woman-owned business, granted, I know your husband might be your COO or maybe your BD or something. Ladies, show up, because what you don't want to do is not be present and have that designation, because then anyone challenge it and people can establish that, hey, you've never been involved, you've never been engaged. Now we have an issue or concern. It becomes a problem. So those are the things, those are strategies that you can utilize. Be who you say you are. Utilize the resources that are readily available to you from a public perspective that you have access to. Review that information and, just calm yourself down, make yourself sit and create your strategy and your blueprint and or your engagement or communication plan as to how you're going to pursue opportunities or interactions, whether it be with government persons, whether it be with other business consumers, or how do you engage each other. So you just have to have a plan, and if you document it, it does help you navigate the space a lot better.
Great. That is so true. Shenell is here. I want to wish happy birthday to Shenell. This is how dedicated these folks are. She's celebrating her birthday this week, and she took off, but she is here for the community. Shenell is a mastermind in the tech business development arena. She has a huge presence in the LA small business and chamber of commerce area in LA. She has been a federal employee. She has been a contractor, and she is now passionate about helping underserved communities, not only with funding, but with business opportunities. So welcome and happy birthday to you.
Happy birthday to you.
Come on, girl. Can you unmute? We can't hear you. That was beautiful. You gotta duet there. We can't hear you if you're talking. Yeah, it's showing you're talking, but we can't hear you. For those of you who are thinking about asking a question, please come on and raise your hand and ask a question. I do want to echo what Lori talked about with 8A and minority, any of the certifications. It is a strategy because I tell, folks, I love to use an example of, you might be a service disabled veteran-owned business, and you are in IT and cyber, and you're like, oh, I'm going to the VA because the VA spends a lot of money in IT and cyber. But if you don't know, and you go, oh, I'm woman-owned, I'm veteran-owned, I'm minority-owned, I'm the royal flush, I got everything. But if you don't understand the strategy of how VA or any federal agency buys what they buy, I tell people T4NG is about a $60 billion MATOC, which is a major acquisition task order. But anyway, they buy IT through T4, the majority of it, right? And so T4 is like the highway going I-70 from the East Coast to the West Coast. You're on I-95. You just hear about VA. Oh my God, buys all this stuff. I'm going to go over there because I got all the certifications. I want to sell to VA. Well, guess what? The on ramp from 495 or from 95 to I-70 is 5 years because they only award that contract every 5 years. So if you're not working on it 2-3 years before, it doesn't matter what your certification is. It doesn't matter how good you are. You're behind. And so there are companies, and I tell people this, there are companies who are spending thousands of consulting dollars, $10,000 to $15,000 a month, preparing for that $60 billion opportunity. Right now, they just announced it. It's coming out. People are building teams. They're talking with folks. Hey, can you be on my team? What's your capability? What's your capacity? They've been planning this for 2-3 years and paying big dollars to get postured for it. So no matter my point about that story is, no matter your certification, you must understand not only what your strategy is, and then aligning your strategy with your appropriate client. Hey, Shenell, can you jump in? Are you able to speak now? I don't know why I can't hear you. If you want, I sent the link in the chat. Jump on the LinkedIn live side. Maybe we can hear you better over there. So questions. Any questions before? Um, we're at about 7:33, and about 7:50 we start kind of summarizing. So we do want to answer any questions you have about certifications. The biggest thing I would tell you is don't pay for it. You can do it yourself. People go, oh, I don't have time. Okay, you're going to have time, because guess what? Most of the certification services do, they ask you to get all your documents, get all your information, and give it to them so they can submit it, review it, and submit it. Well, if you're going to go through getting all your information, all your documents together, you got to scan it, you might as well do it yourself. I don't know. I'm just saying. Maybe, has anybody paid? Has anybody out there paid for a certification? If you have, raise your hand. I'd love to hear your experience.
And Michelle, while
Anybody
you're waiting on,
okay, come on,
yeah,
Tara.
while you're waiting on someone to raise
Yeah,
their
go
hand, what
ahead.
I do
Tara's
want
coming.
to just make sure we just reemphasize the certification is one component of a
Mm-hmm.
aspect of your strategy and your posturing from a business perspective. Just be mindful that, again, in all things, you still need to be capable and have the
Mm-hmm.
capacity to do. And so, in a lot of businesses, we start up, and a lot of folks aren't ready to do business with the government, but they will hop in first. And some folks
Mm-hmm.
get lucky in winning, but then they go through hell with compliance and trying to sustain and perform. And when you're not prepared, you know what it could be the detriment to your organization, because the government not doing well on a government contract is documented, and is documented and memorialized. So whereas in anyone for years to come will have be able to review what someone else said about your performance. So you want to be mindful of that, not to scare you away one way or the other, but in all things you just have to be prepared. But if you're prepared and you've been working towards this, and you're just making the shift now, but you've been preparing yourself long before you decided to become an entity, that's one thing that's different. But the certification is one thing, being qualified and capable is yet another.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So true, so true. And what Lori is talking about is the CPARs. And Lori, what does that acronym? It's horrible how we use so many acronyms, and I can't even remember what they
What is the
stand for.
contract of past performance assessment report is your past performance. CPARS is the database that they capture all of the contractors' performance assessments report system. So the government document how well you perform. You have an opportunity as a contractor to say yay or nay. If you challenge a write up at the lower level, of course, there's escalation, as in all things, until it's ultimately resolved. But that bottom line, whatever it closes out as being, that's what it end up being. But when it's unfavorable, it's unfavorable. And then, two, not only do you have to worry about CPARs, you get a termination for a cause or at the
Mm-hmm.
convenience of the government. So again, the government is not gonna carry you along and let it end well for you when you just don't perform, or just don't come ready to the table. And so that's why I say come full, opposed to wanting to look for the pie. Just come already
Yeah,
baked.
yeah. So true, so true. I was thinking about a situation where the government terminated for convenience, right? And the reason they terminated for convenience was because the contractor or the vendor did not have their pricing right? And so when the government asked for their pricing uh, update, the government did not believe it was fair and reasonable. And so as a result of that, the government just said, "Oh, we're just gonna start over. We're gonna cancel for convenience, and we're gonna just, we're gonna move on to the next. What is your perspective on that? And I see Shenell has just joined us. Shenell, jump in
Can you
after
hear me?
Lori. Yeah, I hear you
Yeah. Well,
perfectly.
even
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. Okay.
And even from a pricing perspective, not only even if you get a direct award as a sole source, we still have to be able to establish price fair and reasonable. I had a situation as the CEO of the Fort Belvoir Community Hospital. A contract had been executed. They were literally in the third year or the fourth year. I was getting ready to exercise the option. I could not establish that the price was fair and reasonable. Called a contractor and he wanted to tell me what was going on, when he got the award. I told him, I said, look here, you're absolutely right. Recession was coming along. I said, but even then, these prices you have on here, I as a CEO wouldn't have signed off on it because they weren't fair and reasonable then. They're not fair and reasonable now. You either go readdress them, or I'm just not going to exercise the option. He came back with some good rates. And I told him, go ahead and make sure you do it for this final option period too. Let's look at that while we at it, because I'm not going to just hit transmit for the sake of transmitting. So you also want to just make sure, that as well. But in those instances, sometimes the government will terminate for convenience opposed to cause. I did the attorney, we made a decision at Belvoir for a particular contractor, had plenty of cause, had documented cause upon my arrival. But the years preceding, times prior to that, the government just hadn't done a great job in documenting. And so we just made a management collective decision. Let's just terminate for convenience. But we documented it in CPARs. So you didn't have a termination on your record, whereas in the government done terminated you for cause and or default. But we did document the performance, based on what I had oversight of, in CPARs. So you just have to be mindful of that. They will terminate or they will get you on the CPARs. They're going to document it. But however they assess and or evaluate you, that too is communicated to you. And the RFP, they're going to let you know how you're going to be review, and then that cost and that performance requirement summary will become part of the contract, and that is how the government is going to assess you, and that's how you need to establish your compliance and quality controls on your side in accordance with that.
Hey Shenell, how are you? Happy birthday
Hi.
and
Thank
welcome
you.
to
I
the
heard you,
stage.
ladies. I couldn't. I don't know why I couldn't respond, but thank you, and thank you everyone in the comments. Okay, so I took notes, so I'll just go ahead really quickly and give my two
Go
cents.
ahead.
Um, Regarding certs, you would need to, when you're, especially for MBE, the Minority Business Enterprise cert, you will make sure that your cert applies to whichever jurisdiction or department you're working with, because what I recognize is that some of the MBE certifications or just even DBE local certs, they're specific to a certain department, state, city, or county. So you have to just make sure that your cert is either universal, or if you need to apply for that specific, municipality or department, because some of them will not accept outside of their jurisdiction. So that's one thing with the MBE or like any of the certs that are state and local. Also, the good thing about the MBE cert is that some supplier diversity programs accept that. So it can be used at the state and local level, but also with higher ed. So like universities, community colleges, they use it. School systems, public school systems, corporations use the MBE, tech firms, ports, but you just need to go to each specific one to find out how they use it, and if they have their own or if they take the universal one from the minority council. So you can use that cert in many places, private and public sector. Then also you want to make sure you're registered in a repository so that they can access you. I'll give you an example. I recently attended a county meeting in California, and that one of the county executives said that they were looking for businesses with a specific cert. There were only 200 registered, but there were over 200,000 businesses in that jurisdiction. So that just means people may not know
Wow.
about their certification, but the county was using this listing, and these are the only businesses that they're going to reach out to, and they're looking for, let's say, for example, they're looking for Black, Latino, or women-owned business, but there's only 200 businesses they had to choose from but they really have over 200,000 registered. So you want to make sure that you're taking advantage of the certifications at your state, county, city, and then local levels. So you have to go to each website because most of the time they aren't going to have one another's certifications listed on the different levels. And then also you can do business outside of your state. You can do business most of the time, unless it's like a local
Mm-hmm.
certifications, you can do business
Mm-hmm.
and get certifications in other states and places throughout the country. And then even some certifications are international, like for international trade purposes. So that's another
I
thing.
was
And
gonna jump
then,
in there.
mhm,
I was gonna jump in there, Shenell, and add to what you said. I just found out that New York and New York City uh, have, if you are a veteran, they will take your certification regardless of where your company is based. So, verify that, but you can go to www.ny.gov or just, Google New York Service Disabled Veteran certification, and they have opportunities. As I was telling some of the ladies earlier this week, while it's good that New York, you can go and get that certification, what is your strategy? If you get the job, is the kind of work you do going to require overhead? We all know New York is an expensive state, or New York City is an expensive city. So, do you have to bring equipment? Do you need a leased building? If you're doing work virtually, it might not be a big deal, but you have to think about the strategy, not just the certification. Is how much would it cost me to hire people there, even to hire 1099s or other, and then to have oversight. Remember, you're a woman, minority, veteran-owned business. You are responsible for maintaining 100% control of day-to-day management and oversight over your business. So those are just some things to think about. But I do want to let people know that New York is welcoming all service disabled veteran-owned businesses. Go ahead, lady.
yes. Thank you, Michelle. Another thing Michelle mentioned, and I can vouch for this because I work with large businesses that do this. Many of these large businesses, they spend upward of 100K or more per bid on like monthly retainers of consultants, because I've been a consultant on some of those bids, and I'm not bidding. I'm not a part of the bid. I'm just helping them to put the bid together, but they pay retainers for us to come on to manage the bid, to vet other companies. So yes, those large bids, you need to know who your competitors are, and if you need to be a team member instead of trying to compete, and then you do your market research, find out how long these companies have been there. They already formed teams. And it's not saying that it's impossible for you to stand a chance, but the more you know about it, you can make a, better decision, and your strategy will be stronger than going in just doing a blind bid. Also, those companies, they need small businesses. I know that they're established, but the reality is there are requirements out there. So for example, in California, recently went to a pre-bid meeting, and that large agency told the prospective bidders, do not bid if you don't have certain smalls on there. Don't even bid if you don't have these smalls with these certifications. Don't waste your time. So they do need you to be a part of their teams, although they're established, because they have to meet requirements. And sometimes the states and counties, local levels may be stricter than the federal government in like compliance, as far as like mandating it, and that, I know it's mandated, but they are stricter about having them actually comply. And then another thing, you need to make sure you're registered in the systems appropriately when you do get your certifications, because there may be another side of the system you need to register on for outreach. For example, large businesses and other people who are looking for partners, agencies, they use those systems to locate you. And if you are not in the system, even at the federal level for like subcontracts at the SBA.net, if you're not in the systems where they go look for people, then they don't know you're there. So you need to make sure you're registered in the right system, so that if a company is looking for a partner or the agency is looking for a specific certification and next code, then they can find you. Another thing, Michelle and Lori was discussing about pricing.
Mm-hmm.
Please don't underbid. Please don't underbid, because you still have to execute. Unless you have a strategy for how you're still going to be able to pull it off, you don't underbid, because you may not be able to get quality staff, and you still have to deliver. And then also, if you have to justify higher pricing, you need to document very well. I've had to do that in the past, but we were able to do it because we documented the reason why. Like, if we were currently on a project, we stayed there long enough to show our value, and we documented that, and we submitted in a formal report. But don't just inflate the prices, because at any time the government can come in and have you justify your pricing, and you need to have the support and method behind how you're coming up with your pricing. And if it's a certain reason why, it's a market, for example, like in tech, if you're dealing with, like, for example, AI, blockchain, you may have cause for inflating, because there aren't that the talent just isn't readily available for government. Even in commercial, is scarce. So you just have to document that and do your market research and go get the proof. It doesn't mean they're going to approve it. So you also have to be prepared to cover the cost. Another thing, you want to document how you manage, and I'm saying this from being an auditor and working in audit and compliance. Michelle mentioned that you need to have certain levels of management control within your company. If you're audited regarding your certifications, you need to have policies, organizational structures, meeting notes with dated in email form or some type of written form to show that you actually managing your company. Because if you are audited, you will have to provide that level of proof. I don't know if those are going to be the exact things, but I do know
Mm-hmm.
that you'll have to have something besides you just telling them that you oversee the company. So that's what I have. If anyone has questions, then you can reach out on LinkedIn. Thank you, Michelle and Lori.
Girl, you came in just fire, 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 just dropping them bombs. Look at you, man. You getting better and better with that birthday. What birthday is this? Are you sharing your birthday number, or is that private?
Oh yeah, no, I'm 39.
Girl, Lori,
Yeah,
what it would be to be
39.
39? That's why she came in with that fire, Lori. Cause she's
But
39. She came in with that
it
fire.
feels it feels like much longer, because I spent at least 15 of those years in government. So, government years are like dog years.
Ooh, ain't they though, girl? I can attest to that. I can definitely attest to that. Well, happy birthday, lady. We're so glad. Well,
Thank
we are
you.
at
Thank you.
7:51. We're at 7:51. Don't you want to ask these amazing ladies some questions? If you do, raise your hand and come on to the stage. If you're on LinkedIn or Facebook Live, you can put them in the comments, or even on YouTube, if you're watching live there, you can put your questions in the comments. And I can't believe Doc Mai, Annette, Javon, who else is here? Um, and others did not put their business name, capabilities, location in the chat so that it could come up on the screen. I know that they're going to do that look, before the session is over. Anyway, are there any questions? Come on, raise your hand. Come on up and raise your hand. I know you got some questions. All right. Well, maybe we don't. Let's wrap up then. Oops, we do. Tara, okay. I was spoke too quick. Glad y'all raised your hand. I was about to start wrapping it up here. So we got Tara Slaughter and Sam Scully on the stage, and we got Trina on the stage. Because we are on a multi media kind of medium format, I need you all to tell your name, your business, and what you do, and your location, because folks on LinkedIn will be able to see that, but folks on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter will not. So first, Tara, you were the first to come to the stage. What is your question? Tell all that information: name, location, business and your capabilities, and then we'll get started. Can you unmute, Tara? I'm not
Thank
hearing you. I
you.
don't know. Do y'all hear it?
I
Do y'all
can
hear?
I can hear. I'm on both. I'm on audio and I can hear.
Oh, you can hear her on the LinkedIn audio side?
Yes.
For some reason, I can't hear her. Okay, what is she saying? Go ahead. I can't hear. Because that also means if I can't hear, that means Shenell, are you able to unmute on your side? Mute on the side, the LinkedIn Live side. See if you can unmute on the other side, or unmute on both. Let's see if we can get her. Because right now Facebook can't.
I'll repeat it because yeah, it's. Go ahead, Tara.
Hello?
Yes.
Sam, I can hear you.
Yes.
I don't know what Michelle. Did we lose Michelle?
No, I just
muted
to
avoid
echo.
echo. This is great that you guys are giving out this information, because originally when I started with my certifications, actually last year, I paid like $2,500 to have them done. Yes, so, and I think that's just ridiculous, but it was what I paid. So, but now I know better. So this is kudos to you guys for putting this information out. So that's all I wanted to say.
Thank you, Tara. Michelle, she just mentioned that she paid for these services before hearing that they were free.
I heard you.
And also that's common that there's some businesses that their whole business operates around the certifications, but you can receive free assistance. I strongly recommend that everyone use the government's resources that they fund, those PTAX, technical assistance centers, women's business centers. You should be able to go to sba.gov and it'll tell you and put you can find lenders there, you can find technical assistance centers.
Everybody can hear. I'm still here.
Michelle, I think they can't hear us on LinkedIn Live.
Can they not hear us on LinkedIn Live? I know they probably couldn't hear on audio because I was muted because
no, they can't hear. They can't hear us on LinkedIn Live. They can hear you, but they can't hear me.
Okay. Got it. Okay, so I think I heard Tara, she paid $2,500. She said, don't do it. Shenell replied, there are government resources, and if we can put that in the chat, any links there. Let's see if we can. I don't know why it's not letting me hear you. Let me try this. Hold on. Let's try Sam Scully. Question. Welcome, lady. Tell your name, your business, and where you are from, and what you do.
Okay, thank you, Michelle. I'm Sam Scully. I started a little bit ahead of time, Michelle, but I'll redo it. I am an IT staffing and recruiting firm here in Los Angeles. I've been certified for almost about 12 years, and I want to say, ladies, I had not been taken advantage because I constantly renew. And Tara, I'm sorry you paid that $2,500 because I just, I make up all my forms, I do the stock report, whatever they need, I produce it, I got the taxes. But my question is, Michelle, I've renewed all these certifications since 2011. And now I was like, okay, now my focus is being Black, broke, and female does not count. Being a veteran, they want to work with me. And it is a lower percentage, but I'm also learning that you can negotiate that percentage. So my question is,
wait. I don't understand.
Be a little bit more proactive.
I don't understand. Negotiate the percentage. You need to give me some more on that. I don't understand.
So if you're a disabled veteran, let's say in Los Angeles, you get 3% of the total contract. Let's say I bid with AECOM for some staffing. You know, they need me to come in, or you know, they add me on the bid because they need a veteran.
Huh.
And so if they win, then that means that I get 3% of whatever their total budget, of whatever the total bid was. But if I'm an SBE, you get 30%.
Shenell, you know about that?
Well, that's veterans preference at the
Yes.
state level.
Yes, and also
Turn off one of your things, Shenell.
yeah, I logged off of the LinkedIn audio. Yes, I'm familiar with
Okay,
that, and
gotcha.
unfortunately, I don't think they can hear me. They're not going to be able to hear me because I had to log
Yeah,
off.
they can
But
hear you.
yes,
No, they
okay,
hear
so
you.
I'm familiar.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm familiar with that. Also, the state, county, and city have different requirements. I do know the governor has like a 25% mandate, and it's not optional, and they're actually tracking this for them to use certain set asides and for businesses to get a certain percentage. And I know if you're like local, you get an additional 11% preference on top of your other certifications. So those allocations are different at each level of government in the state of California. So you would have to find out, and then they're even specific to different codes. Or for example, they're looking for construction companies, or if you're in tech, if you're in a high demand field. So you would need to find out which, for one, which level of government you're working with, what the requirement is, and whatever that requirement is, those companies, they definitely have to meet that requirement. But I would recommend reaching out to a contracts officer within whatever jurisdiction you're working with, so that you can get the details. Also, they have it on the website, but it differs. So like it's not like a set, the amount differs from the state, city, and counties throughout the state. So you would have to reach out to a CO. They have that information on the website for your city, county, or state. You can go and just reach out to the CO, and it's especially they have it specific to your line of business, because there may be a waiver or special qualifications. I know the county of Los Angeles, the city of Los Angeles, and the state, they're working to increase minority vendors and disadvantaged vendors like very hard. So I would just reach out just to also be
Let
within
me
their Rolodex.
ask you. So the 3% is a goal. It is not the percentage of revenue or work.
So the 3%,
is that true? Hold on,
the 3%.
Shenell. Hold on.
Mm-hmm.
Let her. What are you saying, Sam?
3% is the total amount of the contract. So let's say the contract is $100,000, then that's 3%. That's like $3,000. If I did my math right, did I do my math?
No. I get the concept. It doesn't matter, girl. I don't do public math, so you braver than me. No, I'm just saying. I'm trying to understand that you're saying at the state level it's not 51%, 49. It's different. It's based on whatever they determine it to be.
But if I may,
they have a base amount that they have to award to her. That's what they have a base amount they have to award, but it differs depending on what city or county she's dealing with, or the state. Like, and it also depends on what's the line of business. That's what I'm trying to tell her. She needs to reach out. She needs to reach out to the office.
Yeah, but and I also think we probably, for clarification, do reach out, because even at the state or local level, the percentage is still predicated upon the percentage of contracts that have been executed by that entity. So if the contract that they put out there on the street is worth $100,000, if you win that contract, that's what you should be, because the contracts that are executed by that city or that state is not they got more than $100,000 from a budgeting perspective. So even at the government level, it becomes the percentage of the estimated dollars of the total amounts of dollars that is going to be executed at the government level should be set aside for this. So your contracting goes for your organization for women owned is 5, 10, or 15%. Veteran owned, there are certain percentages. So that's predicated upon, from an operational perspective, as you execute contract, the percentage means the number of contracts should be towards this certain population. So it's like a sample size, but to be taking the value of a contract and then reducing it down to a certain percentage because you are a certain set aside, that's improper as well as potentially illegal. And there's a whole lot of people need
No,
training.
they have it. No, they have it. They have it out here.
That's
California,
just,
they
yeah,
have
that's
some.
a misrepresentation of statute and policy and law. There is absolutely no reason why
So
any
they
city,
have
state, or county should be saying it's $100,000 contract, but I'm only going to let you get $1,000. No, or 3,000.
they
No,
have a 15% bid reduction at the county level, and it's for preference, and then they have a local one, and then they also let veterans add to that. So it's in favor, it's supposed to be in favor to force the businesses to use the companies and to actually use their services. I was just in a meeting for that, because a lot of companies, they will bid the smalls, or they'll bid the disadvantaged businesses, but they don't use their services, and they don't give them any of the contract. So that's
well,
why
but
they're
again,
pretty
the
much.
percentage is for the number, the amount of contracts that go to a certain set aside. Not, it shouldn't be predicated upon each contract. I'm gonna
That's what I
award
was
it,
saying.
but I'm gonna give
I
you
didn't
only
understand.
$3,000 for this $100,000 contract. No, that's not what they should be doing. Is if the contract and they set it aside for this certain social economic group, is predicated upon, hey, I have goals that I have to meet. So hey, we're gonna put this in this set aside group, even at the state and
No,
local level. I mean, Georgia is flawed, but they ain't up here. Yeah,
no,
that's
no, no, no,
that's
no, no. I think it might be a misunderstanding. The reason why it's not for them to just like to pretty much not give the small what they're due. That this is for large bids. This is what I'm familiar with. What they're doing. It's for the larger bids, and they're putting. So if a small is a part of a larger bid, they have a mandate of a percentage of the actual
yeah, that's
award
small
that has
business
to go.
participation. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
small business
yeah,
participation. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
but but they need to tell them the amount. Like I was in a pre-bid meeting. They said, when you submit your plan, don't just tell us I have these businesses and I plan. You have to give them the amount that you plan to allocate
Mm,
to those
mm.
businesses.
Yeah,
So
and
You
the
this is
cannot
government,
just
yeah, the
tell
something.
federal
them that they're
government
going
do
to be on the
that.
bid.
Yeah, we do
Yeah,
that. That's
yeah.
different.
Yeah, so the difference is,
So,
I know in federal, some businesses don't meet the requirement. In the state, they're trying to force the businesses. Like, if you do not meet the requirement, they literally will terminate your contract. So that's why they want to give the small the exact amount and exact allocation that they're going to get, and they have to do the business with them. They cannot reduce it throughout the
so,
contract unless
so,
unless there's an administrative reason.
so, Sam, can you hear me? Sam?
Yes, I hear
Oh,
you well.
good. Oh my God. Oh, my
Yeah, do
speaker
business
had
where you
gone
the
out. The
only
battery.
small business.
But
That's
well, what I'm gonna say is we may need to do a whole nother session and
yeah.
bring some state folks in, because this is an issue. I mean, I don't.
Michelle, that would be awesome, because I would definitely need. That's why I've been trying to get on your sessions for a while, and I was just making a post and I saw it. But this will be awesome, because everything you ladies have provided is great. But I definitely think there should be another session if you have
Oh
time.
yeah, oh yeah. Well,
And
so
then
I
and
know
then
a couple of
also,
state folks, and we need to get.
mush
Wait, Chanel, we over
mush.
time, and we
Uh-huh.
have one more person. We got one more person, so I want to bring this issue to close and just say we're going to Chanel. If you bring folks from California, I'll find some other folks. If you can find somebody from Georgia, you know, these are all heavily populated states with minorities
Mm-hmm.
and veterans and women, and then let's have a conversation. So let's try to plan that sometime in June. But I want to get. We're at 8:07, and because now we're going live, I don't want us to be on for 2 hours on YouTube and Facebook. I want us to try to keep as close to an hour as possible. And we got Trina, and we also have lost half of our listeners on LinkedIn. audio. I don't know. Some of them may have jumped on LinkedIn Live, but they can hear the replay. Trina, what's your question? Thank you, Sam. You done brought something up, girl. That's all. It's all good.
Hi, everyone. I'm Trina Martin. I'm in Houston. My business is TL Martin International, where I help bridge the gap for underrepresented and underserved minorities in the workplace by advising and consulting on DEI, leadership, and recruiting. My question is, I have gotten my veteran-owned certification. I'm in the process of getting the woman-owned and the certifications here in Houston. Shenell touched on it a bit, but is there a list of databases that I should be in to let other companies know that I do have these certifications? And my second question is, how do I find people to work on a contract that I want to bid on? So say I'm here in Houston and I bid on a contract in New York. How would I go about finding the right people to help me on that contract, say in New York?
All good questions. Ladies, I'm a pitch to you, Shenell. Then Shenell just reach out to the municipality. Okay, so that's on the other issue. Lori,
Yes.
if you will have any words of wisdom for Trina.
Well, Trina, one subnet, that's through SBA. Subnet is a database. It's like a virtual capability statement where you, as in you could go and register your business as to what your capabilities are, letting other businesses know, both large and small, that you are you want to do business with the government. Anytime that you are looking to submit a bid in an area outside of your general location, again, through things like subnet, you can also go out there and do it like almost a source of salt, just like the government does, and say, hey, I'm looking for companies that are interested in teaming and partnering with me. I'm considering doing a bid in this location. What say ye? Look to see if there are any pre-solicitation conferences that they will be holding, because if there are pre-solicitation conferences, whether if you register for one, even if you're not able to attend it, what the government will do for any pre-solicitation conference, they're required to post after the conference, make sure that any presentation that was provided is made readily available. And then it also will identify the attendees, and that's going to be housed in SAMS for that particular requirement. But anything you do from a business perspective has to be strategically thought out. So you ask yourself, if that is your goal, that is your expectation, the same thing you would do in Houston, you would pursue those efforts in New York. It becomes how to making sure that you find the right folks to do that. But you do that through Subnet. Again, it's a great way for you to do that, putting that information out there to let them know both that you are looking for work and opportunities to sub, but more importantly, in the event that you're pushing things out. And then too, use social media, like LinkedIn,
I was about to
find
say
ways
that.
and opportunity to put an announcement, just post something out there saying, hey, what you're looking for, and you'd be surprised. And as well as various Facebook groups, you'd be surprised as to people that will respond to you.
And I want to jump on that about LinkedIn. I love LinkedIn. I believe LinkedIn is a resource that people don't understand how to utilize. If you go in your search block at the very top, you go to your top and where you are on where it says My Network, and you type in DEI or idea even, and you search everybody's profile, every company's profile that has DEI or idea, which is the other term, will come up, and you can sort it by people, you can sort it by companies, you can sort it by location, and you'd be surprised if you don't have a premium account. You got to have a premium account because you get so many. Okay, so you're good. So you can reach out to folks and get your pitch together, right? You a short, hey, I've looked at your profile. Don't just send it to everybody. look at the people's profile, look and see if they are really somebody that you think would be of value to what you're trying to do. And then, work on, just a short pitch on, hey, I would love to, I'm working on this. I think, you could add a lot of value and expand my capability and capacity. This is my goal. I plan to, be at $100 million next year. I'm happy to, this is the things that I've done. I'm now working with the city of Houston, and I'm working with the Port Authority at Houston, and we have done well. We have great past performance, but we're looking to grow and scale, and we believe that you could be part of our future. And I'd love to have coffee and conversation. Do 30 minutes, no more than 30 minutes, 30 minutes, and say,
Great.
would you be willing? Because if you go after over 30 minutes as women and minorities, and this is, I'm going to say this, and I'm just going to be plain and straight. We are performative, and we want to be validated. We always feel like we got to prove to people that we are what we say we are, and we talk too much and give away too much intellectual capital. That's why I said 30 minutes. 30 minutes in and out, having an agenda with what you're going to talk about. And then if they say yes, they're interested after the meeting, thank you very much. Listen to your sixth sense. God gave it to us and we ignore it too often. If it feels right, then let's see what else is up. Let's maybe meet in person, right? At a public place. Check out the people they're connected to. Ask them, what do you think of this person? Are they published? Have they been invited on panels? Because then you're writing their influence just like they're writing yours, right? And so this LinkedIn thing is a powerful thing. And the other thing I wouldn't negate is search by your university, your college, or your university, or whatever company you work for prior to. Search by that, because that's an immediate connection, right? It's an immediate connection.
Great, thank you.
Yeah, yep. But it's really relationship, because you don't, even though people have skill, I tell people, every dollar ain't a good dollar, and every PhD certification and resume ain't good. So
Absolutely.
you got to know who you work. You got to know who you. There's some people
Absolutely.
who have their resume may not be that good, but they are amazing to work with. There are people who have some stellar credentials, etc., and they're difficult to work with. I call them, they have sharp elbows, and what that means is they don't want nobody to get close, and they definitely not gonna invite you to share the stage nor hand you the microphone. So who we do business with needs to be real value based. It's almost like I was telling a couple of ladies earlier today, and I'm gonna wrap up. We were on a session, and I was telling them, just like we have checklists for men, we need to have checklists for our business partners. And check that credit. You want to check who they be hanging with, the activities they do, where they go. You want to know, what do other people think of them? You want to check out their social media. You want to check out their company capabilities. You want to check out their past performance. All of those, make your list, and don't be shy. And don't, once you lower your standards, it's hard to raise them up. So I'm off my rant, but you get the point.
Thank you so much. It's so helpful.
All right, we're about to wrap up. It's 8:17. Ladies, I'm going to let you guys have Lori and Shenell have a few last words. I know I'm up here preaching, and I don't know any better. I just want y'all to win. I want to just give it to you straight. And although I'm not in business, I have been in business, and I have seen thousands of business. I've watched what they have done well and what they have not done well. And so I just want y'all to get the benefit of that and minimize the hurt, minimize the falls and maximize the rise. Okay, who's going? Lori? Who's that? Lori, who's unmuted? Lori or
Oh yeah, nothing else. Thank you all for joining us. Another great night. Again, happy birthday, Shenell. Michelle, look forward to catching up with you. But
Yes.
thank you all for your questions, and we are here to try to support and answer as many as possible. And we will definitely follow up on the questions as it relates to this state and how the various contracts and things should be executed. Because keep in mind, from a small business perspective, is there's a requirement for small business participation. The percentage of the amount of the contract you are getting at that point is not the government saying this is only the amount you get. That's the person that you partner with. So as Michelle say, when you're looking for partners and you're looking to team up, be mindful of who you're teaming up, know the value that is expected on that contract collectively as a whole, so that you know what percentage you're going to be getting, so you can determine whether or not it's worth your time. But look forward to us being able to find some state representatives to come and share some information with you all as well.
Absolutely. I want to thank you for joining. Appreciate you, lady, always. And Shenell, come on,
Hi,
birthday
yes.
lady.
Yes, thank you again, Lori. Thank you, Michelle. I dropped the links to the requirements for the I can't remember who was asking about the state requirements. I dropped the state, county, and city for
Mm-hmm.
California, and it addresses the 3% requirement that they have to award to veteran-owned companies, but then there's a requirement of
That's what
what
I was at.
percentage that you should get. Yeah, so the requirement, you 3% yes has to be awarded to disabled veteran owned companies. 25% has to be awarded to disadvantaged, but then there's a percentage that the state would like to see you get in the award. But that's what you need to speak with the contracts officer about. But I put all the links in under this under Michelle's advertisement for this session. And then also I'll reach out to see if we can get someone. I was just with one of the county officials. They're changing a lot of things. That's why I say reach out to their office, because they're trying to make it easier for disadvantaged, specifically minority women and veterans to get access to opportunities in the state of California. And if anyone has questions, then you can reach out. Thank you for attending.
Thank you. Ladies, gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us on Demystifying Government Contracting. Tonight's session has been about I'm certified now. What? We've been joined by Shenell Glover, business advisor, business development expert located in the California area, but helps businesses all over. And then with Lori Smith, also a consultant in her own right, and instructor, as well as advisor for small businesses seeking an inside view through her perspective as a contracting officer. So we want to say thank you for joining us. We're here every Wednesday, 7 to 8 p.m. Regardless, for us, I know at least for me, these folks are here because they want to be, not because they have to be. Uh, Please connect with them. Please follow them. Please be mindful that they are generous, but yes, they are business owners. And so I want to leave this session like I do most, with a blessing. And I want to say, may God bless you, oh, bless you, oh, bless you indeed. May He enlarge your territory. May He increase your influence, and may He prosper your business. May He keep you from evil, and may He keep evil from you, because it's rough out there. But most of all, may God continue to bless you in each and every way, and all that you do and all that you're trying to do, not only for yourself, your business, your community, and your family, through the legacy wealth of entrepreneurship. My name is GI, and I'm God inspired to help women, veteran entrepreneurs, and a few good men. It has been my pleasure. Good night.
Good night. Thank you, everyone.
Good night. Thank you.
Good night.